Hey everybody, this is Fletcher. Welcome back to another episode of Your Life is Now. This is where we reveal the unseen forces that influence your every thought, decision, and action. This is where we learn how to give up wishing and start actively creating the life of your dreams, because someday has arrived. Your life is now. I want you to experience your own power, and together, you and I, we get to make this world a better place. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that we're in this conversation together. We have such a cool topic today to explore. We'll be using the drawing pad behind me to illustrate a few things too, because I think when you see this drawn out, it has really significant impact. But before we get started, I have a question for you. Do you think you spend more of your moments experiencing suffering or experiencing life as beauty? Go ahead and pause this and really consider, do I experience more beauty or more suffering? Another way to ask it is, do I experience more pain or more pleasure in life, or more positivity or more negativity? Think about that for a moment and then come back here to the discussion. Okay, now that you're back, let's look more closely at this topic. I invite you to consider that there are two main ways of experiencing life. Now your mind may interject right now and say, Fletcher, there's a lot more than two ways to experience life. And if your mind jumps in like that, just thank you for sharing and then come back here and focus. Nothing I say is right, wrong, good or bad. The question is always, can this or does this serve my life? So again, I invite you to consider or pretend that there are two main ways of experiencing life. One way is life is suffering. So if this is one of two major ways of experiencing life, what would need to be in place for me to be suffering? What would need to be in place for you to be suffering? Good question. So this was an exercise I did with my coach, and I love it because it's so visual. So let's check it out. This is life as suffering and what causes suffering. A lot of people feel like they don't have control over what happens to their life. They feel like suffering happens to them. So let's take a deeper look at this. If you are experiencing life as suffering, a number of things have to be happening, or you have to be being a certain way to get the result of suffering. So for instance, if you're in fear, if you're experiencing fear in your life, you've probably got a lot of suffering going on. Fear doesn't feel good, right? It's scary. It can cause you to freeze or run or be on the defensive. What about loneliness? If you're experiencing a lot of loneliness in your life, you probably have a lot of suffering going on. Anger. A lot of people, anger is one of their go-to emotions, and it doesn't feel good. Again, results in suffering. Sadness, you're in suffering. Shame. Shame is a huge one. A lot of people deal with shame, and a lot of people don't even realize they're dealing with shame. Shame is if you're experiencing shame, you are definitely in suffering. You know, and another one is self-doubt. If you're constantly questioning yourself, wondering if things are going to work out, you got a lot of suffering going on. Worry. Oh man. Worry and stress. Raise your hand if you have any worry or stress going on in your life. If you've got a lot of worry or stress going on, you're definitely in this realm of suffering, right? And let's go to wanting or desiring. Wanting or desiring, you may have heard that, I think it was maybe a Buddhist saying that wanting or desiring is the root of all suffering, because you're never satisfied, right? And I'm not talking about making goals and going for your goals, but an example is you get the new iPhone 7 and then a couple months later the iPhone 8 comes out and you're suddenly wanting that. The one you have is not good enough, right? Always wanting what you don't have definitely leads to suffering. How about guilt? Ooh, guilt is another one. Guilt. The message of guilt is really important. The message of guilt is I've violated one of my own rules for myself, or violated a rule of the community at large. So if you've done that, you feel guilt. Not to be confused with shame. The message of shame is I'm not good enough. Something about me is just not good enough. It's very different than guilt. A lot of people mix them up though. If you are jealous, right? If you're feeling jealous, definitely suffering. That is such a dangerous emotion. causes a lot of negativity in people's lives. Jealousy. Resentment, definitely in suffering if you're doing that. Frustration, impatience. Impatience, that's one I have to deal with a lot because I'm not having expectations met. I have an expectation out here, it's not met, and then I become impatient, and it keeps me right in here. Complaining, you hear a lot of people complaining. Are they experiencing beauty, or are they in suffering? Sometimes complaining can feel good in the moment, but long term, you're suffering. And distrust and disconnection. Yeah, if you don't trust people, if you're always suspicious of them, or you feel disconnected from people, you're definitely going to be in suffering. And it's just not a fun place to be. It doesn't feel good. But a lot of people spend much of their day right here, and much of their week, much of their month, much of their life in this suffering because they haven't figured out how to get out of it. Now, I want you to pay close attention. Do you see all the arrows going into the suffering? So it's because suffering usually is all about me, right? You don't have the energy to give to others. You don't have that energy to share. It's all about me, always me-centric. Okay, so I want you to keep an eye on that. It just doesn't feel good. So that's one way of being. But let's contrast that to another way of being, which is experiencing life as beauty. So if we experience life as beauty, again, certain things have to be in place. You have to have a certain outlook. You have to be being a certain way to experience beauty, right? So, for instance, courage. Courage is something you need to walk through fear, to go through fear, right? So if you're courageous, you're definitely going to be experiencing life as beauty. How about growth? Yeah, if you have this sensation of growing, you're accomplishing things, you're learning things, you're definitely right here in beauty. Patience. I was just talking about how impatience leaves me in suffering. As I work on it and I become more patient, it allows an experience of beauty. Love, that's a given. Joy. I love this one. What a wonderful way to experience the world, joyfully, right? And joy is not possible without this right here, gratitude. Gratitude is one of the keys to creating a life that's really fulfilling, experiencing life as beauty. Joy springs from gratitude. If you have an attitude of gratitude, you're going to experience a lot more joy and beauty in your life. How about excitement? Absolutely. Fun. Laughter. How good does it feel to laugh, right? If you're laughing and got a good belly laugh going on, all those endorphins going through your body, it just feels good. Comfort, accomplishment. It's really one of the greatest experiences of life is accomplishing something, right? Something you set out to do, making that goal, building something, collaborating. That experience of accomplishing something is really significant and important in our life, and it leaves us with an experience of beauty. Faith. Yeah. Faith rather than fear, right? Faith that things are going to work out for my life. What a wonderful place to be. What a wonderful attitude to be or to have, that things are going to work out for me. Things are going to work out for my good. That the world is looking out for me. That the universe is looking out for me. That God is looking out for me. Whatever your belief is, that I'm being watched out for. Things are going to work out. A great way to go through life and experience beauty. Health and vitality. How good does it feel to have a healthy body, right? To have energy, to do the things that you want to do, to accomplish things, to grow, to experience love, and have joy and laugh. You need energy for all those things. You need health for all those things. If you have health and vitality, you're definitely going to be experiencing beauty. How about connection? Man, that is so important in our lives, right? We're hardwired for connection. We love to be around people. We want to feel included. We want to feel relevant and significant. So connection, super important if you want to experience a life as beauty. Progress, very close, similar to accomplishment and growth. If we're not progressing, we're usually plateaued. And if we're plateaued, we're usually very close to losing traction and going backwards. So progress is a great one. Happiness, significance, matter, or self-worth. To feel significant in life, to feel like you matter, to feel that you have self-worth is a wonderful thing. And a little secret that we'll go into on another video, but this is something you generate. You self-generate significance, that you matter, a sense of self-worth. Now, oftentimes we'll chase it. We're looking for that reflection in other people that they think we're significant. And that's okay. It feels good in the short term. But if we get our sense of significance and self-worth from other people, we're always chasing that, right? So we're never going to actually be full. We got to learn to feel significant in our own right. We got to know that we matter, that we make a difference, that we make a difference for this world, that we have something to offer it. And when you can really believe that and create that for yourself, then you can have this experience of beauty anytime. You're not always chasing it. Does that make sense? So that's the super important ones. Compassion. Oh, that's a great one. When you have compassion for others, it allows for authentic connection, which is what we're looking for, right? So compassion is a good one to really understand how it is for somebody else. Not an easy thing to do. It's something you have to practice and really pay attention to. So, but if the people who get compassion, man, the results they get in life are off the charts. How about certainty? Yeah, a feeling of certainty, like you know where your paycheck is coming from. You know that you're gonna have food. You know that you're gonna have a roof over your house, right? To have that level of certainty allows for a level of beauty. And this one down here is a huge one. Contribution. When you have a sense that you're contributing to your family, to your community, to something larger than yourself, it really allows for a magnified experience of beauty. So I think I've heard it said, to get what you want out of life, help other people get what they want out of life, and it'll come back to you. And that reciprocal experience is one of beauty. So a question for you. We've looked at life as suffering. We've looked at life as beauty. Where are you? Where are you in how you're living life? Do you experience more suffering or do you experience more beauty? And if you experience more suffering, know that there is something you can do about it. What's missing is a way of being. We looked at all the ways that are required to suffer. And there's even more than that, but we hit some of the big ones. And we've hit the ways of being that result in an experience of beauty. So if you want to experience life as beauty, you simply have to nurture these emotions and ways of being more. Does that make sense? I sure hope so. This is just an introductory to this topic, and I would love to talk with you one-on-one or in a group or on our Facebook channel. So if you want to continue this discussion and learn more, contact me. It's FletcherEllingson.com. You can go there and email me. You can call me. This is really an important topic. And in another video, we're going to actually learn how you create your emotions. What is involved and required to actually intentionally create an emotion? A lot of people think that emotions just happen to them. It's not. It's not how it works. We're very practiced at creating our emotions, but we just don't know that we're doing it on autopilot. So again, go to my website, FletcherEllingson.com. You can listen to my podcast where I actually speak about this. I'll be releasing another video about how we create our emotions. There's all sorts of great stuff at my website. Check it out. Contact me. I'm going to wrap this up. Remember, you have worth. You have something that this world needs. Stay in action. I believe in you.